Welcome back to Two Vits Talking Shit. I'm Michael Vitt.
I'm Mike Vitt.
And it's week 4. We're going into week 4.
Yep.
Crazy week 3, I gotta say. Crazy week 3. A lot has happened. Wild set of games, but I think, outside of a couple shocking outcomes, nothing out of the ordinary. Most teams are playing like how I thought they were. So,
Yeah. I think for the most part, I think there's some things that were surprising this week, but still only through week 3. And so I
yeah.
will reserve judgment on what I actually think, with the exception, we can look at the standings and we will, and kind of go through that a little bit, but there's still a lot that can happen. But yeah, I think some things are starting to level out.
Yeah, things are definitely starting to level out. It's a historic week. This week, there were what is it, like 4 blocked field goals in a game? I think it was four total blocked field goals, 2 in one game. And then 2 of the games that had those blocked field goals led to that being the game-winning play, which is kind of crazy.
2 return for touchdowns.
Yeah, so Eagles game, there were 2 blocked field goals total. One early in the fourth quarter. Eagles blocked a field goal attempt. That was before the Rams started coming back, but then the Rams game winner got blocked in return for a tutty, which didn't really matter because the Eagles won at that point anyways. And then we had the Browns blocking a field goal in the Packers game, which ended up leading them to win their game because they drove it down and kicked their own field goal. And then in the Jets-Bucks game, the Jets blocked a field goal, returned it for a touchdown, but unfortunately gave the Bucks a little bit too much time on the clock, and Baker did Baker things. So crazy week 3 just off of that. But yeah,
it was pretty crazy. But the first 3 quarters of the 9 morning games that you and I were watching were absolute duds until
the most boring games
quarter.
ever. Yeah.
And it's sort of funny. You and I are talking about it live on Sunday while we were watching the games. And what we were saying was that offensive production, quarterback production has just at like a seeming historic low for at least for the last 10 years.
Yeah, it's rough.
It's been so terrible. And then as I started looking around on Sunday and yesterday after the games, that's kind of what the main media is saying as well. So we're sort of right on top of it live while it was happening.
Yeah,
thankfully we did have some excitement in those later parts of those morning games, because otherwise it would have been a dud. So it turned into sort of really kind of lazy and not so much fun watching football. Turned into some pretty excited endings.
Yeah, it was a fun time. I did enjoy the end of those games, and it seems like we're moving in the direction of we're more excited for defenses to be on the field than offenses, because that's where all the plays are being made at this point. It feels like.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Outside of that, I feel like there's a lot of great stories for this week. We've got a list of them, so we can start wherever you want to start.
Yeah, I wanted to real briefly go back to a couple things we talked about last week.
Okay.
I looked a little bit into some things a little bit further and just did a little bit of homework on some of the things. We talked last week briefly. We talked about one of the things that had come up in the NFL with Tom Brady being in the booth.
Yeah.
For the Raiders, Tom Brady, a very small minority owner of the Raiders, was in the booth on Monday night's game against the Chargers, wearing a headset in the coach's booth, which caused quite a stir across the league and in the public eye, because he's also works for Fox Television and is a commentator and announcer and has access that most people don't get. And so that caused people to really question what was going on there. And when we talked about it last week, I didn't have a big thing one way or the other. I don't think it was a big deal. Then this week, I actually had opportunity to listen to Greg Olson, who also works for Fox and who is one of their top announcers. And his
Yeah.
take on it was that the teams can give as much or as little as they want in their production meetings to whoever is covering the game for that week.
Yeah.
His example was even to himself, to Greg Olson, when he will have a production meeting with teams. Some teams will give them, I mean, basically he said down to like how their game plan is going to be run,
Yeah.
down to even plays they're going to run. And some teams won't tell him anything. And he says he gets off the call and it's like they have no information more than in whether they had the call or not. So
Yeah.
Brady doesn't have any access to any teams don't want him to have. So it's not any advantage to that. But I did want to kind of clarify that because I know that if you're not sure on that, it can look a little funny. So I want to clarify
suspect,
that.
Yeah.
It is, but I mean, the NFL's deemed it okay. And to hear that from Greg Olson, the teams that they have the ability to give nothing. So anybody who's concerned about it can just basically shut Brady out and give him nothing. So It is what it is. Yeah.
Okay,
And then the other thing we talked about was the tush push, and you were kind of ahead of it.
Stupid play.
Well, yeah, you were ahead of it on. I agree that I wish it wasn't a play, but I don't see it as an illegal play. My point was that the NFL hasn't deemed it to be unsafe, which is the only reason I really should see that the NFL would get involved until some stuff came to light this week that you were ahead of me on, that I did some more research on. And the play is illegal because they are jumping off sides.
The amount
Specifically,
of
the
penalties.
Eagles are jumping off sides.
Yep.
Every single time.
Every play.
And it was proven this week in a game. I think the Saints got called for doing the tush push.
No.
For offsides.
Was it the Saints?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, a couple teams got called for it because I don't remember the Saints, but I do remember another team.
And they got called for false starts offsides on the offense because they're leaving too early. And then when we watch the
Eagles game,
the Eagles do it, they're just as much offsides or false starts, and they're not getting the calls. So that's why I think that the NFL is going to have to clean that up. But that's not an argument of whether or not it should be or shouldn't be in the plays.
No, it just needs to be officiated correctly. I mean,
it's just not being officiated. So
we were watching the Eagles game, and they ran it twice very early on in the game. And both the first time they ran it, the commentators addressed it, and then they brought on Mike Pereira, the NFL rules analyst, and Mike Pereira goes, "They're false starting," right? And he goes, "This is what you're asking me about. It's when you slow it down, it's very clearly they're false starting."
Well, that was the caveat he shared. The caveat to what he was saying was, yes, it's a penalty. Yes, it's off, but we're slowing it down. It's very hard for the officials to see.
Yeah, exactly. And then,
however, the officials in other games can see it. So that's where I think that the NFL and the officials are going to have to clean that up.
They can. They have computer assisted review now. That's what they do, right? If they have the computer assisted review and everybody is calling this out as a suspect play that's being ran, you should review that when it happens and throw the flags. Like, it just should happen. That, and then, the response from whoever was commentating, I don't remember who was, it might have been Olsen, I don't remember. Either way, the response was like, yeah, Nick Sirianni, when questioned about it, said, if you slow down every play that happens in the NFL, I'm sure you could find a flag. And I'm like, that's bullshit, dude. You have 5 offensive linemen jumping off sides every single play. Your center's lined up over the ball every play. Like, you've got 10 flags you can call on that play. Every play. Bullshit. Eagles should be flagged and fined, and they should suspend every player for at least 3 games. That's my statement.
Yeah, I know, and and for those of you who don't know, that's his feeling because it's Nick Sirianni, and he's not a big fan of him.
I don't like the Eagles that much.
All right. So, anyways, that was just some stuff I wanted to clean up from last week.
Yeah.
Going forward, we have a few things we discussed. We have some news in the world of quarterbacks.
Yes, we
looks
do.
Like we have our first actual change at quarterback coming up this week in week 4. That is not due to an injury. The New York Giants have decided today that they have announced that Jackson Dart, their first-round pick this year, quarterback, will be starting his first game in the NFL against arguably one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the NFL.
Yeah, it's a stout opponent. It's a home game, though, right? He gets that, at least.
I guess so, but the Giants are playing the Chargers. Who are 3-0.
Yeah.
And look, all as good as a 3-0 record can look. They look awesome.
They look
And
good.
so we'll see how that goes. It looks like the Russell Wilson experiment. What's that? What's this? 3.0? Broncos 2 years ago, Steelers last year, New
Yep.
York Giants this year.
Yeah.
It looks like I highly doubt, I don't expect that we'll see him in a new uniform as a starter ever again.
He's probably on his way out. He could go
Yeah,
the Joe
so
Flacco route, potentially.
I think I'd take Flacco over him
I think
any
most people
day.
would, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that he's going to throw another pass, and which is sort of hilarious because the last pass he threw on Sunday night, which will be the last game he plays for the Giants, was an awful looking pass that didn't even look like he was trying to throw it to
Yep.
an actual wide receiver, doinked off the
Mhm.
uprights,
Yep.
which I think if the last pass he throws in the NFL is doinking off the uprights, that sort of sums up how the last 3 years of his career
His
have
career
gone,
is
so.
gone. Yep.
We'll see
Yep.
how Jackson Dart does next week, but that is the first quarterback who is being benched and a new quarterback playing this year that wasn't due to injury. So
Yeah. Going into this week, there were a couple teams that could have benched their starters and replaced them with a new one. Browns were specifically one that I looked at too. If the Browns had another awful game, there was a chance that Flacco gets benched and they put one of those rookies in, which
oh,
Browns won, so Flacco doesn't get benched. But Jackson Dart, I'm excited for. I was saying it before the season started that I wanted him to start. I think him and Scattaboo and Neighbors are going to be the pillars of that offense. And if they can find a way to pull out some wins or at least make their offense look a little bit productive, Dable might have his job saved. Right?
I think that's got to be why this move's being made in this game against the Chargers. Otherwise, I don't think you make that move. I'm not sure when their bye week is, but I think their bye week is week 5.
I believe it is too. I can check it real quick. Man, you had me
check it real quick
research.
because otherwise, the only way that this makes sense is, quite frankly, that Dable
We are
is
wrong.
looking at it. We are wrong. Or no, it's not till week 14.
Yeah,
right?
it's week
They're
14.
Week 14. Okay, I couldn't remember. Yeah, I couldn't remember. That's right. There is no good week. So basically, I suspect that they went back, watched the film, and they're feeling the pressure. They're not going to have a good record this year. It doesn't matter who plays quarterback.
No.
And so he's not going to save his job based on the record, making the playoffs or anything like that.
Mm-mm.
So the only way they're going to save their job is to say, hey, we're the right people. We picked Jackson Dart. We're the right people to install the offense that's going to work for him. We're going to use this year as the freshman year to get him up and running, continue to put our team together, and please let us have one more chance. That's the only reason I can think of why they'd let him play this early in the season against the Chargers is that. So, and you know what? I think the leadership there, Dable in particular, wanted him. They picked him for a reason.
Yeah.
And so, let's see what happens.
I think, something that happens very often is coaches will draft a guy, like quarterback, right? They'll draft a position. It's usually the quarterback, right? A coach will draft a quarterback, and then within a year that coach is gone, right? And it's like
happens
when a coach gets the guy, right? You have to give him at least a bit of time. And Dable had a really good first year with Daniel Jones, and then that fell apart tremendously. But he's got Dart, and if throughout the rest of this season Dart trends up and the Giants' offense trends up, I think he'll have made a great case for himself. I mean, their defense isn't terrible. I like the pieces they have on defense. So, we'll see what they can do.
On paper, they have a phenomenal defensive line.
Yeah, it's one of the best on paper. So,
yeah.
But yeah, we'll see where that goes. Outside of that, and the wonderful field goal mishaps all week, there wasn't really much like big crazy stories in my opinion. I mean, there was the upsets, but those all came from those games. There were a lot of injuries though, a lot of season-ending injuries for non-quarterbacks this week, which I think was kind of shocking.
The NFL is a season of attrition, and as well as anybody as a Lions fan, that injuries can decimate a team potentially. Yeah. And a lot of times, simply by having fewer injuries, teams that stay together can, persevere.
Yep.
And so we're never going to go through all the injuries, but there were a few this week that are going to be significant to their teams. The 49ers lost Joey Bosa. That's probably a huge one. He knew it when it happened. He looked up into the stands on the sidelines and gave a thumbs down up to whoever he was looking up to in the stands. This is unfortunately the second time he's blown out that knee.
Yep.
Once in high school, and then he blew out the same one on Sunday, and he also has blown out the ACL in his other knee too. So he's now got the 2 blown out on one side and 1 on the other.
Damn.
So unfortunately, in a team that's already started to be decimated with injuries, who is a team that in the last 3 or 4 years seems to always have people get, lost to major injuries.
I just want to clarify real quick: Nick Bosa, not Joey Bosa.
I apologize, Joey Bosa.
Joey Bosa plays for the Bills now.
Yeah, Joey Bosa plays for those. I apologize. It was Nick. You're right. And then the Cowboys lost CeeDee Lamb for, as of this morning,
2-3 weeks.
They weren't sure. Yeah, they were flirting with putting him on the IR, which would take him out for a minimum of 4 weeks.
4 weeks.
So it's bad enough for them to be considering that. With a high ankle sprain, he did try to come back into the game on Saturday. He ran one play after they had looked at him on the sideline, took himself out.
Yep.
High ankle sprain, it means, anything other than a straight line run is going to be nearly impossible.
Yep.
So he took himself out. Who knows how long that's going to be. And then 2 major ones that won't be coming back that are kind of sad is Najee Harris, running back, who the Steelers traded to the Chargers this year. Chargers were banking on him being their bell cow. And it was gruesome to watch. He basically just tried to accelerate from his spot in the backfield, and you watched his Achilles roll right up the back of his leg into his into his calf.
Yeah,
and
that
so it's pretty obvious that was that.
It's rough for him.
Yeah.
I feel like he was a very, very highly anticipated prospect coming out of college. And with the Steelers, did really nothing. Honestly, didn't do much. And I thought with the Chargers, he would have something. But a season-ending injury doesn't really help with that. So that's unfortunate for him. Definitely not an injury I wanted to see happen. You never want to see anyone tear their ACL, but...
Well, his was an Achilles.
Oh, I'm sorry. He tore his Achilles. Either way, don't want to see anybody have that happen.
So yeah, he actually, what's funny is and like you, I had looked at him as somebody that the Steelers didn't really get as much out of as but I was just looking at something that I had heard. Yeah, I was just looking at something that I had heard because in his first 4 years, he's the 14th player in NFL history to accomplish 1,000 yards rushing in 4 consecutive seasons, which. I mean, he sort of did that quietly and never really got much attention. Yeah, he never really got much attention. I mean, the names that he's in line with is people like Adrian Peterson and LaDainian Tomlinson, and names that that are Hall of Famer type names in the case of both those. But I thought he was going to have a breakout year going to the Chargers.
Me too.
He doesn't even get 3 full games in before he blows out his Achilles. So hopefully he'll be back. And then the other one was James Conner had a devastating and nasty lower leg injury. Somebody rolled over on top of him.
Yep.
And so just another running back lost there with another gruesome leg injury. So those are 4 probably the biggest injuries that are definite injuries. Those teams are going to definitely suffer by losing those players. So
and I mean, I think
kind of a bummer to see.
I think the team in the worst position out of that is genuinely it's the Niners, right? They have Brock Purdy out, they have Kittle out, they have Bosa out. I mean, we could keep McCaffrey's out, right?
McCaffrey's not out, but he was
limited.
Listed. He's always limited.
Yeah, and
I feel like he's one sprain, one strain, one weird tackle away. It seems to be just track record for how. I mean, I think he's only played 1 full season without injury in his entire career. So
exactly.
So as far as, and that's just it, the 49ers have just had a track record. It's kind of weird you start to look at teams over and over again that they seem to have. It's every year the same team.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe it's that California water. I don't know.
It's the
Maybe it's
I
that,
don't know. I
that
mean,
California Bay Area water.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Bay Area. Well, that's why. Is that why the Raiders left? Is that why?
I'm
Uh,
just gonna forget you said that. Okay.
well,
Anyway,
I can't let
those
you
are some
forget it
things for the week.
just yet, because
Wow.
I think we're moving on to that part of the
Yeah.
podcast where we discuss our team's weeks, and your team played first, so I think we have to address the Raiders first.
Yeah. So yet another tough week. Yeah.
Quite a
So
rough week.
week 3, rough week. Raiders went to Washington, and Jaden Daniels, starting quarterback for Washington, was out this week. So I was very hopeful. And unfortunately, while I'll reserve my actual grade or analysis until week 4 or 5 for all teams, the Raiders look not good. Not good at all. The issues
No.
that I was fearful of to start the season are there. Worse than that, though, are issues that I did not think would be there. Things that I thought that the incoming coaching staff were
Yes.
going to address.
Uh-huh.
Pete Carroll being a defensive guru and somebody who has defenses put together and playing at even above their talent level.
Mm-hmm.
The defense does not look great.
No.
There are some opportunities with some missed coverages and some things that I just didn't expect to see. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think we have any superstars outside of Max Crosby on the defense, but we have some solid players. And the things that I'm seeing are sort of disappointing. On the offensive side, Chip Kelly is an innovator on offense and has been phenomenal everywhere he goes. Offenses are productive. And if I have to watch Ashton Genty
Run up
take
the
an inside
middle.
handoff and run in between the guard and the center, or the guard and the tackles one
Uh-huh.
more time, I think I'm gonna scream. It's absolutely mind-boggling
Yeah.
that we're 3 weeks in and the offense hasn't changed. It looks exactly the same. We're taking one of the smallest running backs and we're running him into the middle of an offensive line that is obviously struggling both in the pass and in the run.
Yeah.
Geno Smith, quarterback, has been sacked 12 times on 101 dropbacks,
Jeez, man.
and when he's not being sacked, he's being hit. He was sacked 5 times and hit 8 more times last week.
Wow.
And from the second the ball gets snapped, he's under duress. Everything that he did was an individual effort, basically, by him.
Yeah.
And so, offensive line struggles, no innovation, no imagination in play calls. Genty running up inside between the tackles all game long, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating because the pieces that I was concerned about are there. The things that I thought that the coaching staff would solve by being as good as they are not being solved.
Nope.
And so we'll see what happens. I mean, I believe we play the Browns this week. And
No.
so,
Lions play the
no,
Browns this week.
Bears. I
We play the
apologize.
Bears. Yep.
Raiders play the Bears. And so, the
This could be a
Bears, we'll
get
get into
right
a little
week.
bit. Yeah, well, yeah, unfortunately, I think might be the Bears. It's going to be, we'll get into a little bit more later, but those are both teams that are 1 and 2 and don't look particularly great.
Yeah.
But just on the Raiders side, it's just frustrating. It's frustrating. I'd be okay if we were trying some new things, but to watch the same things that were not particularly effective in week 1 be the same things we're doing in week 3,
Yeah.
that's not good. That's not that just
It
doesn't make a lot of sense.
It
And
doesn't
I
seem
don't
like
I don't
things are
get
changing.
yeah, I don't get an opportunity to be in the building to hear what's going on, but I can certainly watch players like Max Crosby on the sidelines display his frustration and things that as a fan we're seeing. And so,
Mm-hmm.
if he's seeing the same things that we are and I'm watching him be frustrated, it kind of tells me that things aren't changing. Max
Nope.
Crosby is a team guy. And if he felt like, hey, we're not producing the way we want, but there's things in the building and there's things that are going in the right direction and that we're just working things out, I don't think he'd be sort of displaying his frustrations in that way. So Definitely a
Yeah,
frustrating week. Definitely a frustrating week. I'm hoping that we play the Bears this week and can at least get to 2-2
get
and
right.
have a fighting chance. So we'll see.
Hey, you guys are
We'll see.
second in your division right now, so let's think about that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you guys are second in
We
your
are second.
division, so let's
Yeah.
end that one on a positive note.
All right. Let's get
Uh,
to the positive note on game.
on the Lions game, is that what you said?
Yeah. Let's get to that one.
What a game! What a Monday night game. Man, you know, the first half of the game played out exactly how I thought. Both teams were very competitive, very, very much playing each other well. And then that second half starts, and something wakes up on that Lions defensive line. Yeah, 7 total sacks on Lamar Jackson. I think he's never been sacked 7 times before in his career. If there's one thing to take away from that Lions game, it's that any doubts about their defensive line that you had going into this season should very much be dropped. That front 7 just came out and fucking gave him hell. I mean, the run game for the Ravens was, for the most part, shut down the whole game, and the Lions had Lamar's number the entire time. I don't really care or need to address the offense for the Lions, although David Montgomery had a 151 rushing yard day with 2 touchdowns, and if he was just a little bit faster, probably would have gotten a 3rd touchdown and a couple more yards. I mean, it was just, you know, first half of that game was close. It was what everybody thought it was going to be. And then the second half convincingly it was just a very convincing, you know, win by the Lions. Like it just felt like they were, you know, for the most part in control that whole game. And they really took a hold of it in that second half.
Yeah. That, you know, the opening drive was the Lions took 5.5 minutes off, drove the ball length of the field basically.
Scored a touchdown.
With a nice opening touchdown. The Ravens took the kickoff and did basically the same thing in like 1 minute less.
Yeah.
Right. And then the next 2 drives, the Lions was a 3 and out.
3 and out, 3 and out. And then
it was a 3 Ravens. And then it was sort of back and forth. But having said that, it really, as close as the score was, and even as close as the score ended, it only by
8-point game.
It didn't feel that way. It did not feel that way. To your point, it was dominated. It was dominated on defense by the Lions. The Lions had 7 sacks. The only other time Lamar Jackson's ever been sacked 7 times, because it's happened twice in his career.
It's the second time. Okay.
Yeah, it was in 2021 against the Steelers. And so, you know, and even to that, not only was he sacked 7 times, but there were several plays where he was just over the line of scrimmage while he was scrambling.
Yep.
They could have been.
I counted like 4 unofficial sacks.
Yeah, and you know, his demeanor on the sidelines was clear that
he's so frustrated.
They were being dominated. Yeah, he was frustrated. They did not have an answer. So, I mean, in addition to the domination on defense with those sacks and just really the coverage being awesome.
Yeah.
The Lions offense had 2 plus 95-yard drives.
Yep.
2 drives where they took the ball at one was
yards.
98. One was a 98-yard drive because they had a half the
distance to the goal penalty.
The distance to the goal penalty to start the drive. So they started at the 2-yard line, their own 2-yard line, and drove down and scored. And then 2 drives later, they went again. And sandwiched in between that, Montgomery had a
72-yard rush.
Yeah, for which was another long. So it was a phenomenal game on both sides of the.
Yeah.
Watching the game.
Your microphone just cut out again there.
Uh-oh.
Phenomenal game, and then you stopped.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal game on both sides of the ball. I don't think that it was ever really even in doubt. And if you watch the game, it's pretty clear. I mean, the Lions were up 14 with under a minute left, and then inexplicably gave up a 3rd and 26.
Yeah, their defense looked really rough in that last minute.
Where they made a terrible open field missed tackle that should have been a tackle, which would have ended the game. Instead, it extended a drive. So,
and then they stopped the 2-point conversion, get the onside kick. So they figured out in the end. ultimately for me, like I was going into that game in my head saying this is a preview of a potential Super Bowl, right? That's how I thought about this game. At the beginning of the season, I said I think the Lions and the Ravens are going to be in the Super Bowl. So that's, in theory, my Super Bowl matchup. And the Lions, historically have not played well against the Ravens ever. We've beat them once in our 7 matchups before this, and it was in 2005. So, as long as Harbaugh's been the coach, the Lions have never been able to beat them. And going into this game, I was not, really excited for what I was assuming was going to happen, which is Lamar Jackson was going to run the ball all around us. And the Lions proved it wrong. It was a story of the trenches, offensively and defensively. The Lions dominated on the line, and it ended in a very convincing win. So I can't complain.
No, absolutely. And I think either way, I wasn't as high, or I'm not as high on Baltimore as you were with regards to them being a Super Bowl team.
Yeah.
I think they're a Super Bowl team, kind of like an or bust situation where they kind of need to get there.
Yeah.
Or the league's gonna finally start looking at Lamar Jackson in a different light.
Yeah.
Which has been talked about the last couple of years, that he's great. They're great in regular season, but do nothing in the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not as high on them as far as Super Bowl contenders per se. But what I will say is they're a very good team either way. And to your point, really, and I think it's the most important point, is that for whatever reason, they've had the Lions number. And in the last few years when both teams were excellent, the Lions still haven't been able to get over on them. So to be able to go into Baltimore and come out with a convincing win, even if Baltimore is not a top 5 team still in the NFL now, just being able to get over that hump and kind of slay that dragon in their house, it was a huge deal. So I think definitely an awesome win for the Lions.
Yeah, I can't complain. And you know what? They're going into the next 4 weeks of football, and I like their matchups over the next 4 weeks too. I'm not going to say these are guaranteed wins, but they're definitely wins that I think are believable, and I think will, there's a chance that the Lions are in 4 weeks from now sitting at a 6-1 record, and can't complain about that, right? Either way,
a lot of teams would take that.
Yeah, that's our quick recap of our two teams. We might as well move on to our next part, which is discussing, what next week's matchups are looking like. Okay. I'll start at the top. On Thursday Night Football, we got the Seahawks at the Cardinals. Seahawks looked really dominant this week. Just kind of steamrolled the Saints, right?
Against the Saints. Yeah.
2-1 record. They lost to the 49ers in week 1.
Mm-hmm.
I got no complaints about Seattle. On the other hand, the Cardinals are suspect to me. They don't seem like a team that's doing too hot. Especially now with a James Conner injury. Your star tight end that everybody was expecting to play really good this year hasn't really broken out yet, Trey McBride. Marvin Harrison Jr., nowhere to be found.
No.
And now your running back is out of the game. Like, offensively, the Cardinals, I think, are going to suffer more and more week in, week out if they don't figure anything out. So, my big thing about this week is, will the Cardinals offense find a resurgence?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're in a sort of a standalone game on Monday night, so I'll pay probably a closer attention to this week than I have in the first 3 weeks, because they have not been a team that I've spent a ton of time watching. And so I will have more information on that next week. But certainly you're correct that losing James Conner is going to be detrimental, certainly terrible for them. And so we'll see how much that affects them. So, but I don't have a whole lot on that situation. We'll just have to wait and see. But I will spend a little more time with some eyeballs on them this week, as they are a standalone game.
Yeah, they've kind of just been quietly looking crappier and crappier from what I've been watching. So we'll see. They lost a close game to the Niners, but we'll move on to the next one. Vikings at Steelers. This one should be a fun one. This one should be a very fun game. This is a Germany game, if I'm correct. They're going to be in Germany for this one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Vikings, no strangers to playing away or in another country. They've done it, I think, every year that they've done this. The Vikings have been in another country. I might be wrong about that. I know they've at least played one or two outside of the country.
Yeah.
Because I watched them play the Jets at 5 a.m. one year. Worst thing ever, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Viking, not a home game for either team. They're both playing in another country.
Well, it's technically a home game for one of those teams.
Yes, it's technically a Steelers home game, but realistically, the international games, when they pan to the crowd, you're seeing a sea of different colors, and it's everybody wearing whatever jersey they like, right? Nobody's a true fan of whatever team. So, Steelers have looked better than we initially saw them, but Vikings kind of wiped the floor with the Bengals this week with a backup QB. I think he's probably the best backup QB playing right now. If we go based off of just merit alone.
Well, Carson Wentz, he's on his sixth team in 6 years.
And before he went through all those changes, he was rallying for a Super Bowl, victory, right? Until he tore his ACL, right?
No, he was a leader for league MVP that year that he tore his ACL and has since been on 6 different teams and never been like an actual named starter.
No.
So I think he'll be the starter again this week. I think J.J. McCarthy's out at least one more week. So
they're probably going to keep him out for a little bit longer if Wentz continues to play like he has been and that team plays like they have been. Yeah.
So I mean, we'll see. I will DVR that game for Sunday morning at 5 a.m.
And I'll probably be up.
And depending on what time I get up before real football starts, I'll see how much I get to watch of that game.
Okay.
So I tend to get up and watch those games. I kid on Christmas every Sunday. I tend to like to get up early and watch all the shows. So I may watch all of that. We'll see. But I'm not anticipating that to be great. I think the Vikings, even going to Germany, I think they're going to smoke the Steelers. I think the Steelers are fake.
They're on fraud watch.
Yeah, I think they're completely fraud watch when you watch the games. Yeah, they beat the Patriots last week, and I would certainly argue that the Patriots actually lost that game, giving five turnovers.
They turned the ball over 5 times. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you look at the stats on offense for Aaron Rodgers. He had like 200 yards passing. I mean, 5 turnovers.
Yeah,
and you only beat the team by 1 touchdown. So I don't know.
I think
I'm not convinced that the Steelers are they could be the worst 2-1 team in the league right now.
That Steelers defense gets matched up against any offensive team, any offensive powerhouse, they crumble, right?
Or any good defense.
True. Two things that they haven't played yet, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Vikings are going to win too. Let's move on to the Washington football team at the Falcons.
Oh God.
Falcons are still on fraud watch for me, man. They just are.
They've been on fraud watch the whole year. I can't believe what the talking heads were saying about them. Some of them are still clinging to them being a good team.
Yeah, I mean, God, you got shut out against the Panthers. Is that 30-0? Like, come on, dude. For everything that should be going for that team, they are just disappointing me more and more every week. So I fully expect Marcus Mariota and the Washington football team the Washington Commanders to walk into Atlanta and show them what's up. I mean,
I don't even think Mariota's going to play again. I think
Daniels is already back?
I think Daniels is back.
Shit.
Back. Well,
I mean, in my opinion,
it's early in the week, but I think he's going to be back based on what I've seen, but we'll have to see.
I think it's similar to how I feel about JJ. You just had a week where, you won by 20 plus points and Mariota didn't look too bad. Like he didn't cause your team any bad plays.
No, he played good.
I would say if Jaden Daniels isn't 100%, keep him off the field. Like, give him one more week. Like, just let him be. Either way, moving on to the Saints-Bills. This is the largest point spread of
Wait,
the
I haven't
week.
looked at it yet. Hold on. Wait, I haven't looked at it yet.
Guess. Take a guess. Largest point
15.
spread.
15.
Larger.
Whoa.
Bills have a
17 and a half?
16 and a half point
Oh my gosh.
spread on the Saints this week. Saints are by far the worst team in the NFL.
For people who are not familiar with gambling in the NFL, a 16 and a half point dog, to have that kind of a spread would be like matching up a Division I or a high level college team, say a USC, a Michigan, Oklahoma, whoever you're a fan of, wherever you're from, against a high school team.
Yeah,
that's the kind of scoring. That's embarrassing to have two NFL teams playing against each other and one being favored by
favored by 3 scores.
Yeah, we can move
2
on.
touchdowns. Yeah, we don't need to talk about that.
We'll see how that goes. We'll talk about it.
Only thing we could really honestly mention is Josh Allen's nose is fine and he'll be good.
He broke his nose last week.
He broke his nose, but he'll be fine. Let's move on to the next one. Browns at Lions, the second largest point spread of the week.
That one's 12 and a half?
Lions are only favored 8.5, which is fair.
8.5. That's what I said.
Browns, we talked about the Lions all we needed to, but let's address these Browns. The Browns went and stood the Packers up at home. The Browns looked really good on defense this week. They stopped that electric Packers offense from doing anything, and they held their own. I think the Lions are probably going to be more trouble for them when it comes to offense. I think the Lions have a better offense. Week 1 was week 1, but over the last 2 weeks, the Lions' offensive line and defensive line have shown up appropriately, and it is very clear that was the issue in week 1, right? Was the offensive line and defensive line struggles. So when I look at it now, I think the Lions' offense is significantly better than the Packers' offense. I think there's a lot more weapons for the Lions to utilize, a lot more options for the Lions, and I think that will probably give the Browns' defense a little bit more trouble. So, I'm expecting a very similar week for the Lions as the last 2 weeks have been. Probably a little less scoring on the Browns side, but
yeah, I've watched the Browns play, and I think they played pretty good football on defense. Certainly, they were close in their loss to the Ravens in the first half. If you don't look at the end score and you just watch the game, they actually played them pretty close. Them beating Green Bay, surprisingly, I didn't think they would beat Green Bay. I do think that think that they would play them strong, and I think they're going to play the Lions strong too.
Oh yeah, that defense is great.
Is that a Lions home game or is that
the Lions home game? Which is why I'm even further pushing for the Lions, because that is a stadium that's tough to play in.
Yeah, and so normally in this situation, I would suggest that maybe a team like the Lions might look past the Browns, which is, I think, maybe in part what could have happened to Green Bay.
Yeah.
Certainly what the Green Bay players are claiming, that every team has that play or that game in the year, even the good teams where they kind of let down. But, we've followed closely the Lions and Dan Campbell, and I don't think that's going to happen.
I
don't think it's a look past them. I think they're focused on winning the week, and I think that it should be a relatively, I'm not going to say easy, but it's not going to be a dogfight like it was this last week against the Ravens. Coming off a short week for the Lions, so I'm not sure what the injuries look like and who's beat up or not. But I didn't see anything too major in the game, aside from Campbell ripping his lip open. Yeah, I didn't see much on the Lions injury part. But I would anticipate that the Lions will look like the Lions, sort of looking like we.
And the Browns will continue to look how they've looked. I mean.
Okay, what do we got next?
We've got Titans at Texans. This is going to be a fun one. I'm actually really excited for this.
Is that 2 0-3 teams?
2 0-3 teams, yeah. And I think, we weren't going to touch on it, but I think I should. Texans released C.J. Gardner-Johnson today. out of the
You
blue.
know why? I didn't see it. Do you
There,
know why?
I,
I heard the news. What was it for?
I did not see or read why. I mean, it is. I think any reason is kind of stupid, in my opinion. Um, I don't see a reason to release him unless like he's causing like serious locker room issues, which
Well, that's it. But
that
that's his MO.
player, that guy, does. But yeah, I don't know. The Texans are super underwhelming. They're not meeting any expectations. They're nowhere near what they looked like 2 years ago.
He played 3 games.
Yeah, I know. He only played 3 games for them.
3 games for him.
Yeah, exactly. But then again, I'm familiar with him because he played for the Lions for a year, and he has only ever had success when playing for the Eagles. So,
Yeah.
and when I got to watch him play for the Lions for the 8 games he played, and then he tore his pec, I wouldn't say that he was significantly, impacting our defense in a positive way. So, if he's causing too many issues and the Texans release him for that reason, that makes sense. But, I think there's more issues than just a guy with a bad mental in your locker room right now. In my opinion, I want to keep believing in the Titans because they've got no expectations. And, the Texans are just a letdown. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So per this article I'm reading, it sounds like, I mean, we know this by watching the games. We haven't touched a lot of the Texans. I mean, if they're disappointing 0-3 start after being sort of like the darlings of the NFL 2 years ago,
yeah,
and coming out in really with a new coach and a new quarterback and doing a really good job. I think they won the division that year.
they did.
But what I was just reading, because I wanted to get a little more news since I just heard it on the radio as right before we sat down today, is that the Texans have given up a lot of big plays, lots of miscommunications, and not a lot of good vibes. It wasn't really a vibe issue so much, but in their game this last week, there was a couple plays where he actually got burnt pretty badly.
Yeah, he sucks.
And then has publicly refused to take any accountability for it. So I think probably, they're not saying it's a locker room issue, but if you're a big name with that personality who's not contributing to doing anything good, and you're also sort of not taking any ownership. Also, I think they're probably just rather cut bait, which that makes sense. So
he's probably texting the Eagles front office right now, begging for a key to get back in the building. So we'll let him be. We've got the Panthers at the Patriots, another barn burner.
Oh, man, this is a trough. This week's tough. Okay,
yeah, it's one of those.
I don't have much to say on that. Who is it?
Panthers and Patriots.
Panthers and Patriots. I mean, Panthers whooped Atlanta 30-0.
Panthers looked great against Atlanta. Patriots
we'll see what happens.
Mid, yeah. Chargers and Giants. This is a fun one. We talked about it a little bit because of the Jackson Dart situation. Chargers look to me like the second best team in the AFC after the Bills. They have played 3 very, very strong football games. They don't look like they're slowing down. I think the Najee Harris injury, although very detrimental, will not affect them that much.
I don't think so either.
They have a rookie running back that they're using too. Is it Omario Hampton? Is that his name? I believe that's his name. That's the guy that has also been carrying the ball a lot too. I think they'll be fine there. On the other side of it, the Giants suck. They're a poverty organization. They're putting a rookie QB in against a really solid defense. And, I'm excited to watch Jackson Dart and my boy Scattaboo do his thing. He had 120 yards total last week and a touchdown, which is like the entirety of the Giants offense. So let's see if Scattaboo keeps Scattabooing. All right? I'd love to watch it. Chargers are going to win, though.
We will be watching.
Chargers are going to win that ball game.
It's not going to be a close football game.
No, Chargers are going to. But hey, Scattaboo will have fun, hopefully.
Yep.
Here is a good game. This is a good one. Eagles at Bucks. Should be a competitive one.
Yeah, it should be competitive, and it should tell us some things. Bucks have played catch up in all of their games this year.
Mm-hmm.
They are 3-0, but they could easily be 1-2.
Yeah.
And they, as good as I think they are, they're starting to see some injuries a little bit too.
Mike Evans.
And they've had to play entire four quarters
Yes.
of football to win those games that they've won.
Nope.
So we shall
Yeah.
see. And then the Eagle, and then I mean, they're 3-0, and it's just hard. It's hard to tell what there is.
Both teams have not had a victory this season where you could go, wow, they're like, they're the shit. That's right. They're legit, right? Yeah. I mean, the Eagles, you could argue that this game against the Rams this week was that, wow, they're legit, but it's the same story that they
were down by 19.
Exactly. It's the same story that the Bucks have had every week, which is, if you're losing for 3.5 quarters of a football game and then you end up winning, I can't say that you're a convincingly good team, right? We've watched the Bills and the Lions and the Vikings this week all show up to games and just mollywop teams, right? Or convincingly beat them. So
yeah, I mean, the Eagles played the Rams, and the Rams are probably a top 5 to top 8 team in the NFL also. Yeah. So, I mean, they played a really good Rams team, but still, I mean, if you want to say you're a top team, you got to beat a top team. You got to be a top team. Down by 19. And I mean, so there's a couple different ways you can look at it. I mean, Eagles fans are stoked they won.
Of course they are.
Rams fans could say, yeah, but we were up by 19. We lost the game. You didn't win the game. They could go either way. But like I will say, I mean,
that was Jalen Hurts. That was a Jalen Hurts performance to win them that game. I've been very
3 touchdowns in the second half.
I've been very low on Jalen Hurts all year, but that second half performance was the shut me up moment. I'll take my words back. Jalen Hurts, you've done your thing. I am sorry for saying you're not as exciting or as good of a quarterback as everybody thinks. On the other side of the ball, before we go to the next one, the Mike Evans injury should not affect the Bucs that much. I do not think it will. He's been kind of nothing for their team this year. Baker Mayfield has favored the rookie. What's his name? Number 2?
Yabika.
Yeah. Over anybody else, really. So I don't think that'll affect them that much. I think it'll be a good game.
Who could have seen that coming, that rookie would be good?
Shush, sir.
I don't understand. Who would have ever thought that guy would have been good?
I'm mad that he is that good because fantasy reasons, but we'll move on. Colts at Rams, another good game coming up this week.
Rams at who?
Colts at Rams.
Oh, man.
Indiana Jones coming in to Hollywood.
Sneaky one.
That is going to be a good game.
That's a sneaky good game. Indianapolis Colts have been good for the last 2 years, and they just didn't have anybody playing quarterback. And
now they
somehow the man formerly known as Daniel Dimes,
now known as Indiana Jones,
a top 2 or 3 quarterback in the NFL.
I'd argue he's played the best of all the quarterbacks this year so far.
He has Kurt Warner rated him the number 1 quarterback last week, or the week, I guess it was week 2.
Week 2,
for week 2, and he rated him not just in stat numbers that you see on a stat sheet, but actually watched film. Kurt Warner is a absolute beast when it comes to watching film and dissecting film. Kurt Warner, Hall of Fame quarterback. And so I have to believe when he gets that much film and dissects it and rates him as the number 1 performing quarterback in the NFL, that is actually what happened. And so Indianapolis Colts are sneaky good. I think we'll talk about our predictions later, but I'm just going to go ahead and say I got Indianapolis Colts. I don't even know what the spread's going to be.
Me too.
Colts.
Yeah, Colts. This is the Colts' real challenge. This is their first challenge, in my opinion. I think this is going to show us because that Rams defense is good. It is really good.
Yeah, they're good on both sides of the ball, so we'll see.
So this is going to be the good one. Next game should be a close and exciting one, but it's not anything to look forward to. Jaguars at Niners. We've already kind of talked about the Niners in detail. It's just a story of injuries racking up. Mm-hmm. Jaguars, on the other hand, quietly won another game.
2-1.
Yeah, 2-1 football team.
2-1 on the season.
I thought they were going to beat the Texans this week, and they did. So we'll see where they go. Next one. Ravens at Chiefs. Big game. Big game.
Yeah, there's not one person who talks about football, whether it's for a living or two knuckleheads like us,
Mm-hmm.
who would have said at the beginning of the season that the Ravens and the Chiefs would have records of 1-2.
Yes, they would
weeks.
both have losing records.
Not
Shocking.
one person would have predicted that.
No, and looking at it, the Chiefs are lucky to be at home this week. They've had some terrible, terrible issues. Last week, Travis Kelce was arguing with their head coach, Andy Reid, which is not something you see from that team very often.
That's happened a couple times. They bumped each other in the
Yeah.
Super Bowl a couple years back.
Yeah, and then on the other hand, same with the Ravens are also dealing with some personnel struggles. Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry specifically, both having meltdowns during their game against the Lions this week.
The number is phenomenal. The exact number, if you want to look it up while I'm talking, maybe you could tell me.
Uh-huh.
I think that the number was Derrick Henry did not fumble or lose.
Oh yeah,
3 fumbles in his previous 600 and
over 600 attempts.
carries.
Yeah,
right. And in the last 48 carries, he's lost 3 fumbles, which is
so.
Absolutely...
If you exclude this season, in Derrick Henry's entire career, he's fumbled the ball 20 times. This season, he has fumbled the ball in every game, 2 of which were fourth quarter fumbles that set his team up for a loss.
The last 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks, his fumbles were
week 1 and week 3.
Was it week 1?
Yes, week 1 was against the Bills with 3:10 left in the game.
Yeah.
And this week was with 8:31 left in the game. Week 2, he fumbled in the second quarter. And the Ravens recovered it the next play. The Ravens recovered it, so it was no issue. But that's crazy.
You're talking about a guy who carries the ball on average between 300 and 350 times a year. So in the previous 2 years combined, he hadn't lost 3 fumbles. And through the first 3 weeks of this season, in 48 carries, he's lost 3 fumbles. That's phenomenal.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah. So
what you have now is you have 2 teams who are
down
by a lot of people's measure, Super Bowl contenders, if not, depending on who you listen to in this space, guaranteed Super Bowl contenders or guaranteed going to the Super Bowl. One of these 2 teams is going to be 1-3 after the first quarter of the season.
Mm-hmm. And if I had to make
you
my
had
bet,
that on your bingo card, good for you.
If I had to make my bet on it, I would say it's probably going to be the Chiefs.
The Chiefs are going to lose at home?
They've already lost at home. Have they not?
Well, yeah. They're 1-3.
Right? I don't know. Chiefs look worse. Just in general. I think they look worse.
Actually, no. The Chiefs lost in Sao Paulo. They won in New York.
Yeah, they won. They lost to the Eagles in week 2 at home.
Oh, yeah.
That was their home opener.
Yeah.
That was their home opener.
Okay.
To me, it's Chiefs have lost to 2 really good football teams, and they beat a really bad football team.
They lost in Brazil.
But who have the Ravens lost to?
The Chargers,
right? Who have the Ravens lost to? The Bills and the Lions, 2 premier football teams.
Yeah, that's true. We were talking about it before we started the pod today. That it's just sort of ironic that
it's just how the schedule works.
The records are terrible. And I don't think even still knowing what the teams they were playing going into the season, I still don't think anybody would have had both these teams at 1-2.
Yeah.
Potentially now 1-3 after week 4. But part of that is they're just playing some good teams.
Yeah. Again, Chiefs have always found a way to win with nothing, and they have nothing this year. Again, right? No wide receiver room. Kelsey's kind of he's on a pitch count, as you like to say, right? He doesn't.
Yep. And he's 1 year older.
He's 1 year older, and he's not getting any better.
And he's
more
engaged. Distracted now than ever.
He's got a family now. Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to spend a lot of time on the Chiefs. I hear enough about.
We'll talk about it a little bit more if we want to later. Bears at Raiders. We discussed this in depth.
Oh no! Yeah, we talked about what I think about that.
Yeah, I got a couple comments real quick.
Go ahead.
Ben Johnson's offense looked great against a team that doesn't know Ben Johnson's offense. Plain and simple.
Dallas sucks. Bears played Dallas last week. Dallas sucks.
Yeah,
Their
Dallas
defense
sucks. Either way, this is a get-right game for either team, in my opinion. It's really a get-right game for the Raiders, but the Bears need to have a second consistent week of looking really good under Ben Johnson before anybody can say anything. And I think it might be a different story this week. I think it will.
I don't know. I think it's a matchup between two teams who deserve to be 1-2. That's sort of where they are, and it's gonna tell us one team's gonna be 2-2, which is just sort of mid, and we'll see kind of now we'll see which direction they go, and one team's gonna be 1-3, and it probably means that's kind of where they're at. And that's kind of so we'll still continue. We'll still have to wait a week or two to really know, but 2-2 looks a hell of a lot better than. Tell you that.
Yeah, 1-3. It does look better. The eye rolls make me feel like you think the Raiders might be 1-3 at the end of this week. But we'll refrain from that.
I'm hopeful as a fan, but as somebody who's watched all the games, I'm
skeptical as a analyst.
I'm hopeful as a fan. Let's just say.
Yep. Next one, Packers at Cowboys. Micah Parsons reunion.
That's the only reason to watch the game. Otherwise, it's going to be a blowout. Yeah,
I expect the Packers to blow out the Cowboys, but it would be really, really fun if the Cowboys beat the Packers. It's not going to happen. Micah Parsons is going to come in and fuck that team up by himself. So, Jets at Dolphins, the first of the Monday night game slates. What a game. Two really mediocre teams. Jets are going to win. Dolphins are going to continue down their path of sucking, and Jets are going to continue down their path of first-year rebuild. We're going to have some wins. We're going to have some losses. Let's move on to the final game of the week. Bengals at Broncos, the last Monday night game.
So the first game's garbage. The second game's on so late that half the country's not going to watch it.
Yes.
There's no reason to.
Yes.
What could have been a decent matchup, we actually could have been a really good matchup.
Would have been a really good matchup.
Broncos,
yeah.
With Burrow going down, just going to be another snooze fest. I mean,
quick thing to note about this game, Bo Nix is the lowest rated quarterback in the league through 3 games. He is playing terrible, according to PFF grading, which I don't know if you have any legitimacy in that, but just based off of that, he is the lowest rated quarterback. I believe he has a 46.7 average grading throughout 3 weeks.
Jeez,
wow. I mean, we both think a little bit higher of the Broncos. We think they're a pretty good football team, but if Bo Nix is doing that in his sophomore year, maybe we need to perk our ears up a little bit and figure out what's going on here. Either way, it's gonna be a game. That's it for our discussions of the week, right? Anything else you want to say?
Well, no, I was just gonna real quickly. We'll do this throughout the year periodically. We're probably a week early on doing this, but I was just gonna run through real quickly the records of the teams right quickly to give us sort of an idea.
My gosh, week 3, not even until week 4.
I know. I'm just gonna do it real quick. It was interesting to me. I wanted to see as we start weeding these out, just because of some of the numbers. Some of the teams are just surprising. So I found it surprising when I looked at it. I was like, whoa. So both AFC and NFC combined, I'll just give you the teams. 3-0 teams. We have the Bills, the Chargers. Not too surprising there. Eagles, 49ers, Bucks, and the surprising Colts.
Yep.
At 2 wins, 1 loss, you have the Bengals. They only are 2-1 because Burrow played the first 2 games.
Yep.
That's it for that. Steelers, we already talked about frauds. Jags, we'll see what happens with there. Trevor Lawrence. Washington football team, aka the Washington Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
Rams are 2-1. Cardinals 2-1. Seahawks, Lions, Green Bay, and Vikings are all 2-1. 1-2 teams, so we're sliding down. Patriots, Ravens, Browns, Cowboys, Bears, Panthers, Falcons, and then an interesting note here. is what most would probably consider the strongest division top to bottom.
Uh-huh.
Is the AFC West, and 3 of their teams are 1-2, the Raiders, the Broncos, and the
Well, yeah, but let's take a note there. 3 divisional games have already been played for that division. So that makes perfect sense. Well, no, 3 total divisional games have been played in that division.
Yes.
Right? So those records make sense because the Chargers are 3-0, winning every divisional game that's been played, and every other team in their division has lost that divisional game. So, I mean, that makes sense. If we're going to say that that's the most competitive division in football, it lines up.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know that we think that in that case they're going to cannibalize each other, but
they aren't. The Chargers are just beating everybody.
The Chargers have beat the Chargers 3-0, and all 3 wins are against the Raiders, the Browns.
Yeah,
the Broncos,
I think if we want to talk about most competitive division in football while also appreciating teams playing good football as well, we're going to have to bring it all the way back to either the NFC North or the NFC West.
All right, we'll get into that.
But we'll talk about that next week because week 4 is when we make those decisions. Either way.
And then 0-3 teams are the Jets, the Dolphins, quite possibly the worst team in all of football.
Come on. You've watched the Saints.
The Texans, the Titans, the Giants, who are a great argument to be the worst, and the mentioned by you Saints.
What even is this? We all know the Saints are the worst team in football right now. They have a negative 43 point differential. Negative 43 points. Negative 43 point differential, Dad. The Titans are the only other team with that.
Okay, then hold on. Let's hold on a second. Let's sidebar for a second before getting back on track. If the Saints are the worst team in football based on their negative point differential,
then the Lions are the best team
through 3 weeks, then does that mean that the Saints last year were the number 1 football team
because of their point differential
in the NFL? Because of their point differential through 3 weeks last week. Hold on. I'm just saying. Last year, the Saints scored almost 100 points in their first 2 games. Was they the number 1 team? No, I don't think so.
They were considered to be a very good team. Either way, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at the records.
Okay.
Of all the 0-3 teams, they've also scored the least amount of points on offense.
The Giants played the Cowboys last week.
Okay. Who have the Saints played? Please.
I don't know, but the Cowboys are the worst defense in all of football.
I'm just saying.
All right. First of all, you ruined the entirety of this little part of my segment. It wasn't to get into arguments with you about this. I just wanted to make the points just to update everybody on where we were or standings wise.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Okay, let's get into our fantasy of this week. If you are new here and you don't know what goes on, we do a weekly pick'em head-to-head. A pick'em is very straightforward. You pick which team's going to win or lose each game, and then you're also going to pick against the spread, the gambling spread. If you want to explain what a gambling spread is real quick, please.
The spread is just what Vegas sets as what team is going to win by how much.
Exactly. So every week, me and my dad, we do a straight up pick 'em and a point pick 'em against the spread. And at the end of the week, we add it all up and we look at it. Let's move on to looking at last week. Last week, I went 9-7 against the spread, and you went 11-5. Or sorry, 9-7 against straight up, and you went 11-5 straight up. It is the left columns, and then against the spread, I went 7-9. And you went 6-10. That is the right 2 columns. Currently, throughout 3 weeks, I am 34-14 straight up. You are 35-13 straight up. I am 22-26 against the spread, and you are 19-29 against the spread.
Ouch.
So yeah, I mean, me and you are pretty even straight up, and I've got a slight lead against the spread. But let's go into the current week 4. We'll start it off hot. Seahawks at Cardinals. Seahawks are favored by 1.5 points. I have the Seahawks winning, and I have them covering.
I like that. I have them winning and covering as well.
You agree with me. Awesome.
Yeah, I think the Seahawks are sneaky good.
I agree. I do think they're sneaky good.
I will be watching this game, though, this week and paying attention closer to the boards for the first time probably this year.
Yes.
So it'll be really my first look at the standalone game, and I'll better understanding of where they're actually at after this week.
Gotcha. All right. Game number 2, Vikings at Steelers. Vikings are favored by 2.5. This is the Germany game. It is the international game. I have the Vikings winning and covering that 2.5 point spread.
I have the same thing.
Of course we do.
Well, I think Wentz is really good. I think Wentz is a good quarterback, not a great quarterback. He's a backup for a reason. But I think that O'Connell, that coach, it just doesn't matter. If quarterback play, if he gets anybody who basically is decent, he makes it work in that offense. He's just an offensive genius. So I think the Steelers are frauds. So that's
I agree. Third game, Washington football team against the Falcons in Atlanta. It's a 1.5 point spread in favor of Washington. I have Washington both ways as well. I think they're going to win. Okay. I think they're going to win by more than 1.5 points.
I think Atlanta's garbage, and I'm going to pick Atlanta to win at home.
Wow, Atlanta to win at home. Yeah. Are you doing this because you want to gain on me, or do you believe that?
Oh, no. You knock it off. It's way too early in the season.
I
very rarely do that. I'm pretty good about sticking to what I believe. If it gets to week 17 and I need to throw a Hail Mary to attempt to come back on a game or two, maybe, but otherwise I'll stick true to my gut.
Okay.
No, I freaking hate. I despise. I almost used the H word on Atlanta because for the last 3 years they have proven to kick me in the dirt every time. When I pick against them, they somehow win.
Okay.
And when I pick with them, they somehow lose. And I came into this season not believing the hype, and I believe they're absolutely garbage.
Okay.
And this is why I'm going to be really pissed off next week when I don't go with my gut. But I just have this stupid thing, and this Atlanta team does this to me. I'm taking it, and I'm sticking with it, and I'm going to be pissed off next week. Mark my words.
Okay. All right. Cool. Saints at Bills. Bills favored by 16.5 points.
My God.
Dude, I don't even know. This might be the hardest game.
I'll tell you right there. I'm taking the Bills, but I'm taking the Saints to cover.
Yeah. Okay. You know what?
I mean, the Bills should have smoked. They should have
smoked the Dolphins
spread this week. It was a 14-point spread this week, and they only won by 10. Now, that was and I know the Saints. You think the Saints are worse than the Dolphins, and I'm not convinced of that. But I think the Saints still have fight, and the Dolphins don't. The Dolphins, maybe that's why I like.
No,
I like the Dolphins.
I think the game was closer than it was because it's a divisional game, and that's why I think that game was closer.
Well, I think the Saints have a new coach in Kellen Moore. He's getting an opportunity. Spencer Rattler is not a starting NFL quarterback, so I think he's still going to be playing for all he can.
Okay.
I don't know. They're going to cover. I think the Bills will take their foot off. I think the Bills know it's a long season.
Okay.
And so they'll come and choke them out, and then they'll just sort of play, like a lion playing with his food. He'll just bat it around a little bit, but they won't.
Interesting.
They won't just go ham on him.
All righty.
So I'm taking the Saints to cover.
Okay. Browns at Lions. Lions favored by 8.5. I'm gonna flat out say it. I'm taking the Lions both ways.
Me too. The Lions don't. The Lions, unlike what I said with the Lions, don't stop.
Yeah, they really don't.
The Lions will just put in point. I mean, they have the most 50+ point games
throughout the last 2 seasons, right?
Yeah, and they've scored the most points in the entire NFL.
Yeah, Dan Campbell doesn't take his foot off your throat, man. He just keeps scoring. So, I mean, you got to please a lot of guys.
Yeah, they'll win by more than 8.5.
Yeah, Titans at Texans. Texans favored by 7. I have the Titans both ways.
I have the Titans at Texans.
Titans at Texans.
They're both 0-3, huh?
Both 0-3.
I have the Texans winning, but the Titans covering.
Okay. Interesting.
Titans can't score touchdowns. I don't know why.
I mean, I think if you're having as much locker room trouble as you are 3 weeks into the season as the Texans, you're not a team I want to believe in. So I've got Titans both ways. Panthers at Patriots. Patriots are favored by 5.5. I'm gonna say it, dude. I got the Panthers both ways.
I got the Patriots winning.
Are they gonna cover that 5.5?
I got the Patriots winning. I got both ways. I get the Patriots winning by 6. I got the Patriots winning. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good. I think the Panthers are on that upswing. I'm not gonna lie. Chargers at Giants. Chargers are favored by 6.5 points. I have the Chargers. Yeah. I have the Chargers winning that game, but I do have the Giants covering.
No, I got Chargers
both
smashing.
Ways?
Yeah.
Okay. I was confident. You had to think about that for a quick second, but
I had to just digest it. I mean, I like Scattaboo.
I love Scattaboo.
And I got to be honest, I want to root for Jackson Dart, but I'm not a Jackson Dart fan.
Okay.
Some of the things I saw him do in the last half of the seniors,
you didn't like?
So
okay.
I wasn't impressed with some of the things I saw on the sideline.
Okay. All right. I got Eagles at Bucks. Eagles are favored by 3.5 points. I want to hear your take first.
That's a lot. There's a lot going on there. Eagles at Bucks. Well, this is just going to really tell us. This is just going to tell me a lot. Are the Bucks for real? Are the Eagles for real?
Mm-hmm.
At Bucks, I am going to take. I'm going to take the Eagles.
I wanted to hear your opinion first because I took the opposite. I have the Bucks both ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, would you say favored by 3.5?
Eagles are favored by 3.5. I think it's gonna be a close game.
I have the Eagles to win. I'm not sure if I have them Eagles to win. Eagles to win, and I think I'm gonna take the Bucks to cover. I think that could be. I think that's closer to a pick 'em, to be honest.
It is.
That 3.5 that Vegas is laying on that in the week that might change, but we play off of we take the scores for what it is on the day we just.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it at that 3.5. I think that could easily go down to 2.5, which really tells us that Vegas thinks it's a less than a field goal game.
Yeah.
So I'm going to play it as a less than a field goal game. So I'm going to take win.
Eagles to win.
And I think that the Bucks will cover. It'll be a
close game. It'll end on a field goal.
Yeah.
Colts at Rams. Rams are favored by 3.5. I'm taking Colts both ways, man. I believe in Indiana Jones.
Colts at Rams.
Yep.
Gosh, earlier in the pod, I made a liar of myself because I said I was going to take the
Colts.
Colts either way. But at Rams, coming off of that, no, I'm going to take the more experienced team in the Rams. I'm going to take the Rams both ways.
Okay.
They're going to win by what was the spread?
3.5 point spread.
Yeah, th're going to win 28-24, 28-21, something.
Okay. I got the Colts winning this, man. They're going to stay 4-0.
I wouldn't be mad if that happened, but I have the Rams.
Alrighty. Jags at 49ers. 49ers are favored by 3. I've taken the Jags both ways. That team's beat.
That's not a bad play.
Those Niners are too beat up.
Even Mac Jones is injured. Was injured.
Everybody's struggling.
Who knows if they're even going to have a quarterback?
They're going to have to.
You got the Jags, huh?
Yeah. They're 2-1, dude.
I know.
And they're getting really lucky with this schedule, dude. They have time to build momentum right now with these games.
The Jags do?
Yeah.
No, I'll take 49ers.
Both ways?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going off of Lawrence up till this season and the 49ers having a better coach.
Quick note on that. Yeah, Niners have every game they've played have been very close, so
I know.
Got to be careful. Ravens at Chiefs. Ravens favored by 2.5.
I got the Ravens both ways, I'll tell you right
me now. Too. I just think they're a better team. And as long as Derrick Henry doesn't fumble the ball again, I think they could win.
Could you imagine 4 games in a row?
4 games in a row. That'd be crazy. Bears at Raiders. Raiders are favored by 1 point.
What? The Raiders are favored?
The Raiders are favored by 1 point.
That's
I have the
first
Raiders
time all
winning this
year.
game.
That's the first time all year.
Yeah, it is. They were not favored against the Patriots, which is kind of funny. But I have the Raiders winning it.
Really? Raiders winning. Yeah, you know what? I have so much respect and fear of Ben Johnson, but I
did too, and then we beat them by 40 points. So
I know, but the Raiders aren't the Lions.
true. Nobody's the Lions.
I'll take the Raiders at home though. I'm really hoping that 2 weeks from now, when I do the first quarter of the season review, that they're like a plus, that they're on the plus side of winning, that they're like 3-2 or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll take the Raiders too.
Packers at Cowboys. Packers are favored by 7. I'm taking the Packers both ways.
I'm taking the Packers both ways. Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna.
Dallas is garbage.
They're gonna show them what's up.
Dallas is garbage.
Yeah. Jets at Dolphins. Dolphins favored by 2.5.
Dolphins are favored.
Yeah, I have the Jets both ways.
Me too. I think the Dolphins are terrible.
I think the Dolphins are garbage.
Yeah, I got Jets both ways too.
And last game of the week,
But not
Bengals
least,
at Broncos. Broncos favored by 7 points.
even with Bo Nix being garbage.
I think the Broncos win this game by more than 7.
So do I. They're going to win, I think, in the same fashion that the Vikings did, which was just annihilate them on defense.
Yeah. So
I mean, on paper, the Broncos are so good on defense. They haven't really shown it yet, but you know, here's your chance. Here's your chance, Broncos. Maybe to get right for Bo Nix. I mean, I don't really want to see that because they're in the division
yeah.
I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean that's it for our fantasy for the week.
Okay.
We've gone through it. We've done it all. You know, if you enjoyed today's episode, give us a like, give us a subscribe.
Yeah, give us a like and a subscribe. Not even laugh about it. Yeah, we're just a couple guys trying to have a good time.
Yeah.
And if we would appreciate it. And if you know us personally and you want to reach out, do that as well and let us know what you think.
Mm-hmm. Once again, thanks for watching. We've just been two vits talking shit. See you later.